Close your eyes for a moment and step into the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let your senses be saturated with the reality of your desire already accomplished. You are not hoping for it, not chasing it. You are dwelling in it. Feel the difference. You are no longer a seeker. You are the one who has already found. You are no longer knocking at the door. You are already inside. The world around you may show you contradictions. It may whisper that you're not there yet, that it's still distant. But the only truth that matters is the one you hold in consciousness. The outer world is just a mirror, reflecting not your efforts, but your inner assumptions. What you claim in the silence of your mind eventually echoes through the corridors of reality. So act, not to get, but because you already have. Walk with the ease of someone who knows. Speak with the calm of one who no longer waits. Think not of the desire, but from it. If it's freedom you seek, then move like someone who is no longer bound. If it's success, then carry yourself with the poise of one whose plans have already prospered. And if it's love, then let your heart rest in the warmth of being cherished. This is not about pretending. It is not about fooling yourself or others. It is about entering a new state of consciousness where what you desire is already so. The moment you feel it real, the machinery of the unseen begins to move. Paths open, people appear, circumstances shift. Not because you force the world, but because you change the only thing that truly matters, your inner state. You must refuse to dwell in lack, even when everything around you screams otherwise. The senses are poor prophets. They echo the past, but you are not bound to repeat what has been. The unseen reality within you is more powerful than all appearances, and it yields only to your persistent assumption. So each time doubt creeps in, return to the inner scene, reenact it, refine it, relive it, not as something to come, but as something here and now. See it, hear it, touch it in imagination. Let it become more familiar to you than the facts that deny it. And do this until you no longer question its existence. That which you accept as true within becomes your experience without. Do not strive, do not beg, assume. The world molds itself around the images you consistently hold in your heart. So hold the image that empowers. Walk in the confidence of fulfillment. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and it shall harden into fact. You must begin not by reaching, not by striving, but by resting in the truth that what you desire is already yours. This is the secret often overlooked, for many are caught in the web of becoming, never realizing they are meant to be. To live in the end is to turn away from the illusion of lack and walk boldly into the fulfillment of your dream. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now, this very moment, in the unseen realm of your imagination. The world has taught you to wait, to hope, to earn your right to happiness, but the deeper truth is that you already are what you seek to become. It is only your refusal to accept this inner identity that delays its outer expression. So you must make the choice to occupy the state of the wish fulfilled, to inhabit it so fully in your inner world that the outer must bow to your assumption. Close your eyes and imagine the scene that would imply your desire has already been realized. Do not stand at a distance observing it. Step into it. Become the version of yourself who already has it. If it's peace you seek, feel the stillness of a life no longer in turmoil. If it's success, hear the congratulatory words. See the fruits of your labor already present. Let your senses drink in the fulfillment. Let it become more vivid, more real than the world around you. This act is not idle daydreaming. It is the creative power of consciousness at work. You are not trying to attract something to you. You are embodying that which you desire. There is no separation between you and it except the belief that it is not yet yours. But if you will dare to live from the outcome rather than constantly reaching for it, the outcome must eventually take form. Many falter because they believe they must wait for a sign, a shift, some proof in the world. But signs follow. They do not precede. The world responds to your assumption. It does not give you permission to assume. And so, the invitation is clear. Step into the feeling that you would have were your desire already fulfilled and remain there. This is not pretending. This is the only truth. To live in the end is to stop asking and start thanking. No longer do you say, will it come? Instead, your heart whispers, thank you, it is done. You walk with the lightness of one who knows. You make decisions not as someone lacking, but as someone already in possession. You no longer chase, you choose. You no longer strive, you rest. And from that rest, everything moves. The world you see is not fixed. It bends to the assumptions you hold. So why would you remain in the state of not having when the key is simply to claim it within? The moment you do, unseen forces move, doors open, people align, and what was once invisible begins to emerge. But it all begins within. It begins with you daring to believe, not as a beggar asking, but as one who knows, who accepts, who assumes. And so you live not for the moment of manifestation, but from it. You rise each day not in hope, but in knowing. You go about your world with the quiet confidence of one who has already received. And though the world may not yet show it, your inner world sings a different song, one of completion, one of arrival, one of fulfillment. And it is from that song that all things come. The outer world, with all its noise and motion, tempts you to believe that effort alone is the key to change. It calls you to push harder, to struggle, to labor as though fulfillment were earned through sweat alone. But truth lies not in striving, but in assuming. Action has its place, but it is never the root. The true cause of all change is within. What you assume to be true, deeply, consistently, and without wavering, compels the world to mirror it back to you. You do not fight circumstances. You rise above them by occupying a higher state. You are not here to force the world into compliance. You are here to reveal a reality already planted in your imagination. When the seed is assumed as real, when it is nurtured by the feeling of already having, the external must conform. Just as the seed does not struggle to grow, it simply unfolds in harmony with the life it contains. So too your desires unfold when you dwell in their fulfillment. This is the quiet power that moves mountains without lifting a finger. You do not beg for change, you embody it. You do not chase the outcome, you assume it and let it draw all necessary means unto itself. The moment you assume your desire to be real, your world begins to reassemble itself around that truth. The world does not respond to your efforts. It responds to your inner conviction. If you believe you are still on the way to something, the world echoes that journey. But if you believe it is done, fully accepted, lived, and felt, the world will bend to that assumption. What appears outside is only the shadow of what you believe within. The outer follows the inner as surely as night follows day. Many imagine that their hard work will convince life to reward them, but no amount of effort can compensate for a state of lack. You can work tirelessly, yet if you believe you are still lacking, your results will reflect that belief. Conversely, when you accept the end as already achieved, your efforts, though fewer, become aligned, meaningful, and inspired. They no longer come from desperation, but from clarity, and this clarity changes everything. To assume is not to sit idle. It is to act with the knowing that you already are what you desire to be. Your thoughts, your tone, your choices all flow from this inner certainty. There is no struggle to become. There is only the expression of who you already are within. This is the great reversal, where effort falls away and inner knowing rises to take its place. Let the outer world say what it may. Let appearances challenge you. They hold no true power unless you give them authority in your mind. Circumstances do not create your state. Your state creates your circumstances. So hold fast to the assumption. Let your imagination be the womb from which reality is born, not the echo of what already is. Persist in that unseen knowing, even when nothing visible yet confirms it. For what you assume with conviction, life must eventually reveal. Do not exhaust yourself chasing shadows. Instead, return to the stillness where all creation begins. In that sacred silence, accept the truth of your desire already fulfilled. From there, all action becomes inspired. You are not forcing outcomes, you are allowing them. You are not trying to cause change, you are being the change. And through that being, the world reshapes itself. Not by effort, but by assumption. Not by struggle, but by surrender to the truth within. The inner state is the only cause. What you consistently dwell upon within becomes the life you walk through without. There is no exception to this law, for the outer world is nothing more than a reflection, a living mirror that obediently takes the shape of your dominant assumptions. Whatever picture you paint on the canvas of your imagination, the world will project it back to you in form. You may try to change the reflection, but unless you shift the image within, the same patterns will repeat themselves again and again in slightly altered disguises. You do not experience what you want. You experience what you are conscious of being. This is why changing the outer world without first altering your internal state leads to exhaustion and disappointment. The inner state is the root. All that appears in your world is its fruit. To pick at the fruit without addressing the root is to labor in vain. When you truly grasp this, you stop reacting to circumstances as though they hold power over you. They are not causes, but effects, echoes of what you once assumed to be true. And if the echoes are unpleasant, you do not resist them, you replace them. You retreat inward into the silence and occupy a different state of being. From that new dwelling place, the outer must conform. Think not in terms of forcing outcomes, but in terms of shifting states. If you are experiencing lack, it is not because the world is withholding anything from you. It is because somewhere within you have accepted lack as your dwelling place. But the moment you move your attention, the moment you choose to abide in a different inner conversation, the scenery of your life begins to change. All that you behold had its origin in some unseen cause, some thought, some belief, some self-concept that you once entertained, whether consciously or not. The outer world has no creativity of its own. It simply reflects back to you the tones and textures of your inner world. If you want to know what you have been assuming, look around. Your life bears witness to it. This is not said to judge, but to free you. For if all is a reflection of the inner, then nothing is fixed. No matter what the current picture may look like, it can be repainted with a new assumption, a new feeling, a new state of being. And when that inner state becomes natural, the world must follow. You do not have to fight with what is seen. You do not have to beg or plead or strive. You only need to assume a new identity within. That quiet shift, though invisible, sets everything in motion. The people, the events, the timing, it all aligns with the new pattern you hold in consciousness. Life cannot do otherwise, for it has no choice but to match the tone of your inner song. So become more interested in what you are accepting as true than in what appears before you. Let appearances pass. They are old. They are echoes. They are shadows of the self you no longer are. And turn instead to the inner world, where all creation begins. Ask not what you can do to change things, but who you are being within yourself. Then become the version of you who already possesses the life you desire. Feel it, think from it, live in it. As that inner state becomes your natural dwelling place, the outer will begin to move. Doors will open, delays will dissolve, people will respond differently, not because the world has changed, but because you have. And in changing, you have summoned a new reflection. The mirror never lies. It simply waits for you to become the image you most consistently hold. To feel it real is to awaken the creative power that lies within you. It is not enough to think about your desire. You must enter into the sensation of its reality. Thought alone is weak when it is disconnected from feeling, for it is the feeling that impresses the subconscious and sets the unseen forces into motion. When you feel something as true, you claim it at a level deeper than words. And what you claim in feeling, life must express in form. Imagination is not a mere escape. It is the workshop of creation. It is there that you build the unseen architecture of your life. Every structure that rises in your world was first laid in the quiet chambers of your inner vision. But to see alone is not enough. You must feel. You must step into the scene and become the one who already lives it. You must let your body relax into the satisfaction of the wish fulfilled. Let your breath slow with the peace of its completion. Let your heart beat to the rhythm of fulfillment. Ask yourself, if it were already true, if what I long for was here now, how would I feel? How would I move through the world? What would I say? And how would others respond to me? Let the answers to these questions form the emotional tone of your inner scene, not as a watcher, but as a participant, not as someone looking at it from afar, but as one within it, touching it, living it. Do not concern yourself with the how. You are not the orchestrator of events, you are the sower of states, and the most fertile seed is the feeling of already being. When you feel it real, you speak from your desire as fulfilled, not of it as distant. Your conversations shift, your posture shifts, even your silence carries a different frequency. You walk differently, you sleep differently, you choose differently, not because you're trying to manifest something, but because you already have. This feeling is not always loud. It may not shout, but it is steady. It is quiet confidence. It is that sacred knowing that needs no reassurance. And the more you return to it, the more natural it becomes. You find yourself acting from it without effort, choosing from it without thought, responding from it without trying. You are no longer rehearsing the scene. You are living it, invisibly at first, but inevitably in the seen world. The body responds to what the mind accepts. When you feel rich, even in lack, your actions align with abundance. When you feel loved, even in solitude, your energy draws connection. When you feel successful, even when unseen, your world begins to honor you accordingly. Life does not wait for circumstances. It waits for you to feel. So each day you return to the scene that implies your desire is true. You touch it with your imagination, not passively, but deliberately. You refine the textures, you color the air, you hear the voices, you feel the warmth. And each time you fall more deeply into the truth of its reality, not a fantasy, but a state, a living, breathing state from which all things come. You will know when it has taken root. You will sense the quiet detachment from needing to see it out there. You will no longer look for signs, for you will have become the sign. You will no longer chase after proof, for your inner world will feel more real than the outer. And in that feeling, secure, steady, and persistent, you will have planted the seed that cannot fail to bear fruit. Let the world say what it will. Let the facts rise like waves against your shore. They are powerless unless you grant them meaning. The senses are the last to know, the slowest to respond. They do not lead, they follow. And if you continue to measure truth by what your eyes see, you will remain anchored to what has already been, never touching what could be. Appearances are echoes of your past assumptions, mere shadows cast by states you once accepted. And so you must train yourself to look beyond what seems to be and dwell instead in what you have chosen within. This is where most falter. They assume that because the world has not yet changed, their assumption has failed. But the delay is not denial. It is simply the unfolding of form through time. The seed has already been planted. The inner act is complete. Now it waits only for the outer to catch up. And while it does, you must not flinch. You must not turn back. You must not let the appearance of lack, of delay, of contradiction seduce you into abandoning your inner knowing. The world of sense is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. When it rules you, it keeps you bound to repetition. But when you rule over it, when you regard it as nothing more than the shell of past imaginations, you free yourself to create anew. The outer is old. It is already written. The moment you perceive it, it has already passed through the mold of your consciousness. And if it displeases you, then do not wrestle with it. Rise above it. Withdraw your emotional attention from it and give that precious energy to a higher vision. It is not that you deny what appears, it is that you refuse to worship it. You acknowledge it for what it is, the end product of a former state. Just as a photograph cannot be changed by scratching at the surface, so too your life cannot be altered by resisting circumstances. You must go back to the dark room of imagination, to the unseen chamber where images are first formed. There you assume again, there you feel again, there you claim again, and you do so not with strain or panic, but with the quiet dignity of one who knows. This is why you must persist, not with effort, but with faith. You persist in the inner knowing that what you have assumed must come to pass. You persist in feeling even when facts scream otherwise. You persist in vision even when sight denies it. For your senses will always try to pull you back to what is familiar. But creation begins where sight ends. The eye of imagination sees what the physical eye cannot, and the feeling of fulfillment creates what the world has not yet revealed. Others may call it foolish. They may say you're detached from reality, but they do not understand what reality truly is. They think it is what is seen, what is measurable, what can be verified. But reality begins in consciousness and only later takes shape. So let them scoff, let the world doubt. You remain faithful to your inner scene. You continue to walk in the mood of the wish fulfilled. You do not wait for things to change, to feel different. You feel different, and so things change. There will come a moment when the outer begins to shift. Perhaps subtly at first, a conversation, an opportunity, a gentle opening in the wall of the world. And when it comes, you will not be surprised. You will not celebrate as one who has discovered something new. You will smile as one who has remembered what they already knew to be true. For you did not believe because you saw because you believed. You are not pretending. You are not playing a part in hopes that one day the truth will catch up to the performance. You are not wearing a mask. What you are doing is far deeper than that. You are shifting identity. You are moving from one state of consciousness to another, not with effort or pretense, but with conviction and sincerity. You are not fooling anyone, least of all yourself. You are simply refusing to remain where you no longer belong. When you assume a new state, not as fantasy, not as performance, but as a felt reality within, you enter a different level of being. And it is from this new state that your world must reflect. You are not faking it until you make it. You are being it until it is seen. You act, speak, and carry yourself with the awareness that you are already what you desire to be, not because you're trying to trick life, but because you have accepted a new truth within yourself. You must see the difference. Pretending requires effort. It is surface level. It is play acting, hoping that something real will follow. But true assumption is effortless. It is still. It is quiet knowing. It does not strain to convince. It simply is. When you shift into the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are not performing for the world. You are becoming for yourself. And in that becoming, the outer world reshapes itself to mirror who you now are. You are not waiting for confirmation. You are not watching the world with anxious eyes, hoping it will respond. You have already moved. You have already claimed. And because of that, your actions now flow from a different place. There is a calm in you, a steadiness, a new rhythm that no longer matches the former state of longing. The old habits fall away, not because you force them, but because they no longer feel natural. The new state takes over. From the outside, it may look like you are pretending. Others may say you are unrealistic, that you are ignoring facts, but you are not ignoring reality. You are giving birth to it. You are not denying what is seen. You are aligning with what is true. For your true self is not the one shaped by circumstance, but the one shaping it through sustained inner conviction. The world responds not to effort, not to appearances, but to your inner sense of being. So do not concern yourself with how it looks. Do not seek to prove anything to anyone. Remain in your new identity. Walk in its feeling. Think from its perspective. Choose from its clarity. The one who has already received does not act like the one who waits. The one who is already free does not behave like the one still bound. And so, as you abide in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, your world begins to reflect that shift, not because you pretended well, but because you became something new. This is the great secret of transformation. It is not performance, it is not imitation, it is embodiment. You are not reaching for something outside of yourself. You are expressing what has already taken place within. And even if the world delays in showing you evidence, you remain faithful to the inner reality. For you know the truth is not created out there, it is revealed, and what is revealed must first be assumed. Let every act from this moment forward come not from effort to get, but from the joy of having. Let your speech be seasoned, not with doubt, but with certainty. Let your decisions reflect the calm of one who already knows. And in this way, you stop playing the part and become the part. You stop pretending and you start creating, not through force, but through being. You must persist, not with tension or desperation, but with quiet faith. Persistence is not pushing, it is remaining. Remaining in the feeling, remaining in the vision, remaining in the assumption that what you have claimed is already yours. The world may sway, appearances may taunt, doubt may whisper, but you remain unmoved because you have already entered the state of the wish fulfilled. This is not a matter of time, it is a matter of loyalty. Are you loyal to the facts or to the truth you have chosen within? Are you faithful to the noise outside or to the knowing inside? You do not need to struggle to hold the vision. You only need to return to it again and again until it becomes natural. It is not force that creates, it is familiarity. What you feel most often becomes your dwelling place, and what you dwell in consistently must express itself in your world. You are not building something by hammering away at the walls of reality. You are nourishing a seed that has already been planted. That seed is your assumption, and your persistence is the sunlight that brings it to life. You do not dig it up every morning to check for roots. You do not question it each time the weather turns. You know what you have planted, and so you water it with feeling, you protect it with attention, and you trust in the invisible work that is already underway. Do not mistake silence for absence. Often, just before a thing breaks through into visibility, the world becomes very quiet. That is not the time to doubt. It is the time to rest deeper in the assumption. You cannot see the roots growing, but they are there. You cannot always feel the shift occurring, but it is. When nothing seems to be changing, it is often because everything is changing, but not yet on the surface. This is why you must live in the end, because when you live from the result, you stop looking for signs. You stop needing reassurance. You are not hoping, you are knowing. And from that knowing, you respond differently. You no longer seek the outcome, you carry it. You no longer wait for proof, you become it. And though the outer world may still wear the garments of yesterday, you no longer identify with it. Your reality has moved. It is not enough to assume once and then forget. The outer world will tempt you to abandon the new and retreat into the old. It will whisper that nothing has changed, that you are fooling yourself, that hope is futile. But those voices come only because you are standing on the edge of change. They are not warnings, they are invitations to stay, to persist, to trust. The state you desire to live in must become more natural than the state you've known. And that comes only through repetition. Repetition of thought, repetition of feeling, repetition of identity. Each time you return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you deepen the groove in your consciousness. You carve out a place for that state to live, and one day, without strain or struggle, it becomes your home. Persistence is the gentle refusal to be moved by appearances. It is the unwavering loyalty to your inner world. It is the still, steady echo of your assumption that plays in the background of your being, no matter what the world says. And when you persist in that unseen feeling, the outer must eventually conform, not by your force, but by the quiet power of your faithfulness to the unseen. So return again and again to the feeling of already having, not with pressure, not with impatience, but with peace. And in time, what you once assumed will be so deeply embedded in your being, the world will have no choice but to bear witness to it, for it cannot deny what you have already accepted as true. The invisible is the only reality. What you see, hear, and touch is not the truth. It is only the echo of what was once accepted within. You must learn to put your faith not in what appears before your eyes, but in what you hold silently and consistently in imagination. The world of form is delayed. It responds slowly, always lagging behind the conviction of your unseen assumption. So if you wait to believe until you see, you will never see. But if you believe while it is still unseen, it must eventually be seen. The visible world is always changing. One day it sings your praises, the next it may ignore you. One moment you feel rich in its eyes, and the next you feel invisible. That is why you cannot anchor your identity in the shifting sands of outer events. You must root yourself in the unseen truth, the reality you have chosen within. It may not yet be visible, but it is real, and in time it must come forth. You must walk by inner knowing, not by outer sight. You must let the world call you deluded. Let the facts argue with you. Let the evidence deny you. You do not need their permission to believe. You do not need their agreement to persist. You already hold the key in your feeling, for what you consistently feel to be true, even without the support of facts, shapes the world around you with quiet certainty. You may not know how it will unfold. You may not see the sequence of events or the hands that will carry it forward. That does not matter. The how is not your concern. The state is. Remain faithful to the state, and the path will form beneath your feet. Those who wait for conditions to improve before they believe will wait a lifetime. But those who believe in the invisible already possess the power that shapes conditions. So you speak, not as one hoping, but as one remembering. You feel, not as a beggar asking for something to change, but as one who knows the change has already occurred in the unseen. That knowing may not yet be recognized by others, but it does not matter. It is yours. It is alive in you, and that is enough. Every great transformation begins in silence. It begins with one quiet soul who dares to believe something different, even when the world offers no confirmation. That person becomes the seed of a new reality, not through force, but through trust in the invisible. The visible may call it madness, but in time it will call it truth. For the visible cannot help but bow to what is persistently imagined. You must stop measuring your belief by the world's reaction. Stop looking for proof. Stop needing a sign. The only sign you need is the inner knowing, the shift in feeling, the gentle certainty that you are already what you desire to be. That inner confidence is your compass. It is your light in the unseen. And if you will follow it without flinching, it will guide you through every contradiction, every delay, every appearance of lack. When you walk by faith in the invisible, you live ahead of the world. You are no longer chasing outcomes. You are drawing them. You are no longer hoping for change. You are being the change. And though the facts may remain unchanged for a time, they are now out of date. They are echoes of a version of you that no longer exists. The moment you choose to feel differently, to believe differently, the shift has already begun. And though it may be invisible to others, it is already real to you. Hold it, trust it, walk in it. And soon the world will awaken to what you have already seen, not because it created the truth, but because it finally caught up to it. Imagination is not a tool you use casually. It is the womb of all creation. Whatever you impress upon it with feeling, with repetition, with belief, must be born in your world. It is not a place for idle pictures or hopeful dreams. It is the sacred space where reality is shaped. And the moment you learn to feel your imagined scenes as real, to give them life and emotion, you are creating something the world must one day see. Your outer experience is nothing more than the crystallized form of your inner imaginal activity. The conversations you hold silently, the images you return to repeatedly, the emotions you allow to saturate your mind, these are the builders of your reality. You do not need permission to create. You do not need resources or support from the world to begin. You already hold within you the infinite power to assume, to feel, to become. If you wish to change your world, you must first change the inner world that gives it form. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and enter the scene that implies your desire is fulfilled. Not as a distant vision, but as something happening now. Do not watch yourself as though on a stage. Be yourself. Be the one who already has. See through those eyes. Feel through that heart. Hear the sounds of success, the tones of completion, the language of fulfillment. You must return to this scene again and again until it becomes natural, until it feels more real than the facts that seem to contradict it. This is not fantasy. This is creation. You are not playing pretend. You are impressing truth. The subconscious accepts what is felt as true, and what the subconscious accepts, it brings into form. You cannot deceive it with shallow thought, but you can direct it with deep feeling. Let your imagined experiences take root in your body. Let them stir your breath, your posture, your tone. Walk as one who has already heard the good news. Carry yourself not as one waiting for life to change, but as one who knows it already has. This inner conviction will change everything, not through force, but through alignment. You need not know how. Imagination does not concern itself with details. It sees the end and holds it. From there, unseen currents move. The people, the events, the timing, they all respond to the seed you have planted in feeling. You do not need to go out and make it happen. You only need to remain faithful to the image and the emotion that matches it. Creation works through you, not by you. This is why you must be careful what you dwell on. Every worry rehearsed, every fear indulged, every complaint repeated is also an act of creation. You are always imagining something. The only question is whether you are doing so consciously or letting the world tell you what to build. Choose now to imagine from the place of fulfillment. Choose scenes that lift, feelings that align, outcomes that complete you. And when you return to your outer life, do so with the quiet certainty that what you held in imagination is already in motion. Let your actions be guided by the one who already possesses, not the one who seeks. Let your decisions come from abundance, not from need. For the world responds not to what you want, but to who you are being. And who you are being is defined by what you feel to be real. So imagine well, imagine fully, and feel it into being. The outer world cannot help but respond. It is bound to the inner law that what is consistently felt must take form. And the world will rearrange itself quietly, obediently, to reflect the inner movie you have played with conviction. Fulfillment attracts fulfillment. The moment you feel as though it is already done, you become magnetized to the very life you once sought. It no longer exists as something outside of you to pursue. It begins to form itself around your being. You draw it, not through effort, but through the vibration of already having. When you truly assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, your frequency shifts. And in that shift, the world reorganizes itself to match your inner state. Desire, when accompanied by longing, keeps you in separation, but desire, when clothed in fulfillment, dissolves time. You are no longer on your way. You are already there. You are no longer seeking. You are living. And in this shift from wanting to having, the law of expression takes over. You become the cause. Your new identity impresses itself on the fabric of reality, and life has no choice but to yield. You must understand everything flows from being. What you feel yourself to be, you express. If you feel full, you give from fullness. If you feel whole, you love from wholeness. If you feel prosperous, you spend, give, and act with quiet confidence, not calculation. Every action you take begins to carry the signature of your new state. Even silence, even stillness, when born from fulfillment, radiates power. You are not acting to get. You are acting because you already have. You're no longer trying to make things happen. You're responding to what has already happened in consciousness. You make different decisions. You entertain different thoughts. You carry a different energy. Not because you are pretending, but because something inside you has shifted. And your outer behavior now expresses that inner change. Others may not see the change at first. They may still treat you according to your past, but that is irrelevant. You are no longer available for the version of reality they're clinging to. You have moved, and as you stay in the vibration of having, they will eventually have to meet you where you are or fall away. You do not need to push, explain, or prove. The world around you will catch up to who you are being. This is why fulfillment must come first, not as a result, but as a state. If you wait for your world to fulfill you, you will wait in vain. But if you fulfill yourself now by feeling as though it is already done, you will see your world rise to meet you. For the outer is a perfect echo of the inner, and it cannot play a melody you have not first hummed in your heart. So dwell often in the feeling of completion. Wake up each day not with the tension of achieving, but with the ease of already being. Let your gratitude rise from what is already real within. Let your joy be the evidence of what has already arrived, and move through your world as though it were simply catching up to your truth. You don't need to force your environment to match your desire. You only need to feel your way into the version of you who already has it. And once you find that feeling, nurture it, live in it, breathe it, return to it often, let it become the most natural thing in the world. And from that state, you will find your steps guided, your words inspired, and your world reshaped, not through struggle, but through alignment. Your fulfillment is the signal. Your feeling is the invitation. Your state is the cause. And once you've truly assumed that you already have what you seek, the world begins to respond in kind. Everything begins to move, not because you chased it, but because you became it. You have walked now step by step through the silent corridors of true creation, not of outer force, but of inner knowing. The world has taught you to labor, to strive, to measure progress by what your eyes can see. But you have been shown another way, the way of assumption, of inner alignment, of living from the end rather than towards it. Each point is not merely an idea to contemplate, but a living truth to embody. You are invited not just to understand, but to enter, to step into the feeling of the wish fulfilled and remain there, unmoved by contradiction or delay. You've seen that the outer world is not the master, but the servant. It is shaped by the state you most faithfully occupy, and that state is determined by what you feel to be real. The key is not effort. It is assumption, not hoping but accepting, not reacting to what is, but responding from what already is within. You now understand that your imagination is not idle. It is the place where creation begins. And when you clothe your desires in feeling, when you persist in the unseen, knowing that it is already yours, life cannot help but respond in form. You've been shown the difference between pretending and embodying. Pretending is a mask worn with strain. Embodiment is a quiet shift, a change in being that needs no announcement. You know now that signs follow, they do not lead. And persistence in your assumption is not a battle. It is a gentle, unwavering loyalty to your chosen state. You have come to see that the invisible is the source and the visible merely its echo. What matters is not the noise of the world, but the stillness of your inner vision. You have learned to reject appearances without resistance and to replace them with a more beautiful, more loving assumption. Not through denial, but through creation. Not through demand, but through identity. And finally, you now understand that fulfillment does not come after the change. It creates the change. When you feel rich, the world reflects abundance. When you feel loved, the world mirrors connection. When you feel confident, opportunity arises. You are not here to wait. You are here to be. So carry this truth in your heart, not as a fragile hope, but as a living law. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Return to it. Trust it. Act from it and persist in it until the world reflects what you have already accepted within. For the only thing required of you is to remain faithful to the unseen until the unseen becomes seen. That is the whole secret. The world you desire is already within you, waiting not to be earned, but to be assumed. Live from that end, and the world in time will follow.